What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm so excited to have everyone back. Hopefully you're safe and had a good 2-week break from school. We're gonna jump right back into integers today. If you even remember, that's what we were doing before you left. And I'm just going to go over the questions from the quiz. I'm gonna have you guys retake it, which you already should have done. And then I get to watch the video. I'm gonna go back through, check your answers, just to see what you remember, what you don't remember. And if you still have some questions, you can let me know, okay? But we're gonna go ahead and get into this now. Number one, it says, which points on the number line have the same absolute values for? The absolute value is distance from zero. So we're looking for any letters on here that have the same distance from 0, 4, right? So if it's 4 away from 0, then it has an absolute value of 4. For example, the letter N right here is on number 4, so it is 4 away from 0. So N is 4 away from 0. Also, even though it's negative, J back here is also 4 away from 0. So remember, absolute value is distance from 0, so we're looking for J and N on number 1. Number 2. Which set of integers is graphed on the number line? We're just looking for the numbers that you see plotted here, right? And that is -3, -1, and 2. -3, -1, and 2. Number 3, which expression has the greatest absolute value? Remember, absolute value is distance from 0. So if you look here, the absolute value of 10 is 10. The absolute value of 12 is 12. The absolute value of -14 is 14. And the absolute value of -16 is 16. So if we're looking at distance from 0 here, this is the farthest from 0 right here. Next one, number 4. Which integer best represents a withdrawal of $85 from a bank account? We've talked about this word quite a bit. Withdrawal means to take money out, right? So in terms of your bank account, that's a negative to your bank account. So we're gonna take -85 in terms of withdrawal there. Number 5, what is the opposite of -13.2? Well, the opposite of a number is just the number on the other side of 0 on that number line. So the opposite of -13.2 would be a positive 13.2. Number 6, which integer is the farthest from -2 on the number line, given these choices down here, right? If we look and we find -2, we're trying to find which of these numbers over here are farthest away from it. So here's -1, right? -2, -1. That's not that far. That's only 3 away, right? Then we have 0. That's only 2 away. That's actually really close. 6. Ooh, that's actually pretty far away. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 away. And then we have -9, which is back this way, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 away. So it seems like the 6 is the farthest away. It's 8 away, and then -9 is only 7 away. So we're gonna go with the 6 here being the farthest away from -2. Number 7, which statement is true? The absolute value of 6 is equal to -6. That's not true because the absolute value of 6 is 6. 6 does not equal -6. It's the same thing. The next statement says the absolute value of -8 is less than the absolute value of -9. Well, what is the absolute value of -8? How far away from 0 is it? It's 8. And that is less than the absolute value of -9, which is 9. 8 is less than 9. So that's going to be a correct answer. Let's just check the other ones real quickly. Absolute value of -4 is 4, and that's not less than 2. So this is not correct either. And 14 is not greater than 14. Right? Absolute value of both of those is just 14, and 14 is not greater than 14. It's equal to it. So the best answer here is that one right there. Number 8, write an inequality comparing the two integers. For these ones here, so go back there. We're looking to compare -7 and 14. The first one is that they're equal, and -7 is not equal to -14. -7 is less than -14. That's actually not true. Remember, we talked about this, how even though a number might look smaller, but remember, negatives work the opposite way, right? So actually -14 is actually a lot smaller. So -7 is greater than -14? That's going to be our answer to that one. Trying to get through these. I know there's quite a few of them. You guys are going to be able to skip through these if you need to. Number 9. On Monday, the temperature was -7 in Akron, Ohio. On Tuesday, the temperature was colder than on Monday. What is a possible temperature for Tuesday? We're looking for a number smaller than -7. So if we look at all these numbers here, remember we just talked about this in the last problem. Numbers that are smaller than -7 will actually look like they're bigger. Like -15 is actually smaller than -7 because going backwards on that number line takes you deeper into the negatives. That's going to be our answer. Number 10. Order the set of integers from least to greatest. And we got -9, 0, -2, -11, and 2. The smallest number on here is -11. The next is -9. And going up, the next one's going to be -2, and then 0. And the biggest number in this list right here is 2. Right? If we were going from left to right. So we're looking for this one right here. Number 11. Order the students based on the temperatures that they recorded from coldest to warmest. So we want the smallest to largest here. So the smallest number on this list is Karen at -23. I'm just going to break the numbers out here to the side. Then the only other negative number is -3, which is almost a 0. We're getting bigger. Claudia at 37, and these are just regular whole numbers, so then they're going to go on over from least to greatest as well. So there's your order. But we need their names. So we're going to have Karen, Marcus, Claudia, Jamal. Karen, Marcus, Claudia, Jamal is going to be that answer right there. Number 12. Claudia accidentally recorded his temperature? Claudia? Okay. Incorrectly. He was supposed to write -37 instead. Does this affect the order from question number 12? Yes, it most definitely does. It'll actually give him the coldest temperature because -37 would then be the smallest number. Number 13, please select 5 of the rational numbers that are integers, right? We're looking for numbers that are integers here. Integers are positive and negative, what look like whole numbers, right? No fractions, no decimals. So -233,333. That's an integer, right? That is an integer. 6 is definitely an integer. It's like a regular number we know. The absolute value of 367 is 367. So yeah, that's an integer. -76. It's a little tricky because there's a 0.0 there, but that is still just -76 because the 0.0 doesn't have value. So it's just -76. That is an integer as well. 2.73, not an integer. It's a decimal. 3 5/8. Not an integer, it's a fraction. -1.8, not an integer, it's a decimal. 0, definitely an integer, even though it's not positive or negative. Next up, number 14. The table shows the average monthly low temperatures in Alaska, right? So which month has a colder temperature than December's temperatures? We need to find December's temperature at 13 degrees, and we need to find a month that has a colder temperature than 13. Luckily for us, all of these are positive numbers. Don't have anything in the negatives. So we're just comparing and finding what's smaller than 13. The only number on this entire list that's smaller than 13 is 11. So the month that has a smaller temperature than December is January. Number 15, Lewis and Aaron are playing a game. They each start with 0 points. At the end of the game, Lewis has 250 points and Aaron has -250 points. Which statement is true about the game? Aaron and Lewis have the same amount of points? No, right? Aaron has lost 250 points. Looks like it. If she's in the negatives, that would mean she lost 250 points. Lewis has 250 points more than Aaron? I don't think so. If she lost 250 and he gained 250, they have a 500-point difference. Aaron and Lewis have a total of 500 points? Not true, because Aaron doesn't have any. She actually has negative points. So the only statement on here that makes sense is that Aaron lost 250 points. We're balloon pups. Number 16, select whether each inequality represents the integers graphed on the number line is true. So, and this one was kind of tricky for some of us, but we're just going to read through this. each one of these statements and see if it's true. C is greater than B. Is C, wherever C is, doesn't matter where it is, it looks like it's in between 3 and 4 here, is that spot bigger than this spot right here where B is? C is greater than B. Is that a true statement? Well, depending on how a number line works, right? Whatever's further to the right on the number line is always bigger, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, see how the numbers are getting bigger going this way? So C is definitely bigger than where B is. So yes, this is a true statement. C is bigger than B. Let's look at the other ones. A is greater than B. Is A greater than B? No, because it's further to the left than B. It's actually further down in the negative. So no, that's not a true statement right there at all. A is less than 0. A, right here, smaller than 0? Absolutely, because it's to the left of 0 down here in the negative. That's a true statement as well. And then C is less than A. Is C smaller than where A is over here? Absolutely not, because it's a positive number, so it's bigger actually than A is. So that's not an answer either. So those two are your options. Number 17, the table shows the depths divers went during an exploration. Which diver has the greatest absolute value? So if we're looking at these numbers here, the greatest absolute value means distance from 0, and the number here that is furthest from 0 is diver A at negative 450. He's 450 away from 0. That's what his absolute value is. So he has the greatest absolute value. Number 18. The table shows the depths divers went, it's the same table, right? Select all the divers that are lower than diver E. So if you look at diver E, he's at negative 100. So we want to start to see if any of these are lower than him. Is D lower than him? Is negative 99 lower than him? A little tricky. It's actually not. It's actually higher. It's 1 meter higher than him. So it's not lower. D is not lower than him. It's actually just barely higher. How about C at negative 230? Absolutely, he is lower, right? Because even though 230 looks like a bigger number, there's a negative, so he's 230 down, right? Diver E is only 100 down. So this is definitely lower. Diver A at negative 450? Absolutely, way lower for the same reason C was. And then B is at 15. Absolutely not, no. That's a positive number, and these are negative numbers, so he's way higher. So he's definitely not lower, so C and A are lower. Number 19, write the letter from the number line that represents the integer described by each statement. The opposite of negative 3 is what point? So if we find negative 3 on the number lines right here, the opposite of negative 3 would be positive 3, which would be point D. That's what opposite means, the same distance on the other side of the number line. Number 20, write the letter from the number line that represents the integer described in the statement. The opposite of negative 2 is what point? So let's find negative 2, let's find its opposite, which would be 2. And then it wants us to find the opposite of that. We'll go right back to negative 2. It's a little tricky one. We've done a couple of those. They're kind of silly, but it is math speak, to be technical. So the opposite of the opposite, right back to negative 2. So that would be point B. Number 21, the temperature in Alaska is 15 degrees below 0, and the temperature in New York is 2 degrees below 0. What is the difference between the two temperatures? This is an interesting question because we have not discussed adding and subtracting these. So difference means to subtract, so you actually have to subtract these, but with the way you guys know how to handle these, you could just count the distance between them. And the distance between negative 15 and negative 2 would actually be 13 away from each other, right? If you started at negative 2 and counted backwards to negative 15, that would be 13 degrees away on the number line. Number 22, we're going to evaluate a problem here with absolute value in it. This problem says, and this is very important to be able to read these, the absolute value of negative 19 minus the absolute value of negative 8. The absolute value of negative 19 is 19, minus the absolute value of negative 8 is 8. So really this just says 19 minus 8. And 19 minus 8 is 11. The last three problems. Mrs. Edwards' company earning totaled $1,200. However, the company lost $100 on Monday, had a loss of $50 on Tuesday, but had a profit of $500 on Wednesday. Which expression represents the situation? So we're going to start with 1,200. We lost 100, so we're going to be subtracting 100. That's already this one's not it, right? Because that's adding 100. We lost money, so we're gonna be subtracting it. So it's between these ones now. And the next one then says, had a loss of $50. So we lost another 50. So it'd be subtracting 50. So this one's not it, because that one's a gain of 50. So it's between these two now. And the last one says had a profit of $500 on Wednesday. So that would be adding 500. So it's not this one because that's subtracting. Looks like that is going to be our expression for this problem. Number 24, based on question number 23, how much does Mrs. Edwards' company new total earnings now? So we basically have to solve this expression. 1,200 minus 100 is 1,100 minus 50. So we do 1,100 minus 50, which will give us 1,050. Plus the last 500 there, 1,550, $1,550. Number 25, what is the opposite of negative 10? We just talked about this one earlier on an earlier problem, if you saw it. The opposite of negative 10 would be a positive 10, but it wants the opposite of the opposite. So the opposite of negative 10 is 10. The opposite of that is right back to negative 10. Now, it's a little bit tricky question, but hopefully this was a great refresher for you guys. I'm excited to get back with some new content. Let's just keep the positivity up. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon. Have a good day.